Good morning again, and welcome back to Zolo's News Channel 21. And I hope you're excited about watching us today. Well, I have another topic, and you know that if you comment that you or message me and give me information about what you want to hear about, that I can actually talk on that topic. If you enjoy hearing my news and how I talk, you can actually send a request, and that will be greatly appreciated because I want to talk about some new topics on here. Okay, now I have here behind me some healthy relationship tips. And it's very important that we can get these relationship tips together, okay? Because first, before I get started and going in about these tips, is to let you know that I'm not in any way trying to discourage anybody, or nor am I trying to hurt anyone's feelings. Okay, I hope you accept this with gladness. The news that I'm about to share with you today on Zoro's News. Now, and I realize if you're going through something and you're not able to handle every talk, please avoid reading this or listening to this news today. If you don't think you can handle it, please don't get upset with me. I expect nothing but good comments in the comment section, because I realize that when people are upset, when people are hurting, when people are sad, or when people just confused or don't know what to do, the thing about it is that they'll go and get angry or frustrated. So, there are proper ways to deal with being angry and frustrated. Okay? And hopefully I can get into talking about that a little bit. Now, I want to tell you some healthy, I want to talk about it and discuss with you healthy relationships tips. Okay. Now, in today's world, this is very important. Now, I also hope to bring, like I said, some more interesting news, but some things have to be noted on the news before we can move to other levels or next steps. Now, number one, good communication. Good communication is really a good thing, because when you communicate with people, then they know what you want, they know what you need, they know what you ask or request of them, they begin to understand you a little better, the things that they need to understand in having a relationship. And of course, understanding may not be on this list, but understanding is a great way to continue in having relationships, and healthy relationships too. Now, when you have good communication, you can tell your friend or someone that you care about that I'm upset today. It's not fair that you can have this or I can't. And then guess what? Then they can try to motivate their friend or help them or give them information that can stop them from feeling this way. But if there's nothing they can do about it, they may no longer be able to hang out with this person, because then every time they do something or have something, they'll be mad. So, but before you cut off your relationship, try to seek some counseling or some mediator or some other type of help where someone else can see how to really naturally and healthfully, good health, to try to send this information over to you. Because you want to get the right idea, and each relationship is different, so we can't base Your relationship on the next door neighbor's relationship plus the people on the next block's relationship versus someone in another country's relationship. Everybody has feelings. And if they can express that in a healthy way, but remember, sometimes they don't express it in a healthy way. So what are you going to do about that? Let's keep talking more. Communication means a lot of talk, but if you're not up for a talk, there's no need for someone to force you unless they're in need. They will try to force you if they're in need of a talk. And what if they don't have anyone else to talk to? What if you're all they have to talk to? How do you prepare yourself to continue to communicate with this person? Okay? Now, number 2, allowing room to grow. See, in relationships, they have to grow just like our fruits, our vegetables, and babies, and children and adults. We grow from babies to adults, and it takes at least 18 years to do that. So, when you're working on your relationships, you need to allow people room to grow. Now, some people may run off, and then they'll come back, and then they'll run off, then they'll come back, or somebody will go into hiding, and there's like, so if you really, really, truly value your relationship and you want it to be healthy, do the best that you can do. Okay? We recognize that people are just human, and by human nature, we like to do things wrong sometimes. That doesn't mean that we won't mess up again if we change. It just means that, can you allow me room to grow? And can we communicate this together so we can get a better understanding? Now, if you truly like someone, you'll be willing to take each step of the way what you can do. Okay, so now, if you want to allow somebody room to grow, I say you're doing something very good. It could be hard, it could be difficult, but it is possible. It's very possible for you to allow people to grow. You might not like where your neighbors are dressing, and their pants are not the way you think they should be. Maybe they're too tight, maybe they're too big, but we want to avoid judging. And judging is not on the list either. But hopefully we can talk about how not to judge people, because when you judge people, and everybody probably have played a role in that somewhere, and it felt great just to say, hey, look at them. That's not right, or that's not cute. Everybody might have tried to do that, but guess what? At the end of the day, you are being allowed room to grow, and you decide, hey, I'm not going to do it anymore. Depending on how much you've done it, it might still be difficult to just stop doing it. So guess what? People will get offended, and that's not on the list either. How to avoid people from getting offended is up to you, because when you communicate with them, they'll let you know what they like and what they don't like. It's up to you to respect that. And how do you respect that? By giving them the wishes that they ask for. It's just that easy. Okay. Number 3, lightening up. When you lighten up and someone, maybe they just fussed at you. Maybe they just, said a lot of awful words to you. But if you lighten up, you can save another argument. Or, if you can avoid that, you can do that just by lightening up. Maybe today you're having a good day and they're just not. So what do? Lighten up. Save your relationship. Save your friendship. It's just that important. And there are plenty of ways that you can lighten up. You can say, hey, I won't make you do some work today. How about the kids? How about saying, hey kids, y'all don't have to clean up today. I'll clean up. Or we're just going to have a big mess. And then tomorrow we can get up and clean up and work together. How about you just lighten up? And it's a good feeling. And then you'll realize it's maybe good for both of you just to lighten up. Say the other person wants to snap today. Maybe if you give them a soft, nice, kind word, maybe that might help. But what if they're purposely trying to get you upset? How do you lighten up then? That is the question. Because by being human, our nature says, hey, defense mode. Or if they want to get mad, then they might want to do something else. They might want to break something. But you know what? You lighten up. You don't have to break your things or anyone else's things. It's something that just happens. People want to express themselves. People want to communicate, but sometimes they don't know how. So if you know how to communicate, maybe you can kind of guide them and teach them into communicating in a better way, than what they know how. So it's not always about what they're taught and how to communicate and allowing them room to grow. Sometimes it's a mental thing going on and when I say mental, that's not a bad word. Okay, basically, anytime we think that's mental, that's dealing with our mentality. Okay, so what happens is that we have to regulate it and learn how to get it moving the way that we need it to have, or thinking the way we need to think. Okay? So you're going to have to just lighten up sometimes. Sometimes maybe it's not your fault. Maybe you don't feel like lightening up. But you can do it. If you're strong enough, you will be able to do it today. Okay? Now, number 4, letting or allowing someone to heal. This is very important, okay? Because dealing with relationships, and not even just relationship with the person we may be talking about, but then you got to go and deal with other people, and then by the end of the day, you've dealt with about 50 people, and now you're frustrated. That's a lot to take on someone. Some people could be dealing with this all day long, but then again, it might depend on who they're dealing with, what they're capable and willing to allow into their settings and where they are. So it's all of this allowing them room to heal because, it's not to make people feel bad and say, hey, well, I didn't know I was such a bad person. Why they don't like to be around me? Hey, if you're really concerned, don't worry about that. This mental thing up here allows them what they can handle. And sometimes, if it's the way it is already, they can't just straighten it up. Sometimes they need help. Someone good to talk to, someone that can understand them. But if you recognize that people need to heal, you won't worry about why they don't want to hang with you or why you think they don't like you. Or you think they don't want to add you in some of the things you do. Find some people if you can. If you can find someone that relates to the things that you like to do and the things that you like to talk about and the places that you like to go to, that helps out a lot. But sometimes when people care, they'll go out and they'll be willing to do these things anyway. And then they'll begin to say, hey, it's not so bad after all. And so the communicating gets better. Okay? You might have some interruptions. You might have some angry people or some mad people. It's a part of life. Being angry, that's a part of life in this world. That we can do that, because we have things that it's like it's hitting our nerve and it's causing us to be aggravated or having a bad day. So you don't necessarily have to meet up with people to say, I'm having a bad day. It could just be something going on within your body. You might not be feeling good. You might be feeling sick. It just all depends. So we don't want to do the blaming thing where we're actually blaming people for everything that's going on. But sometimes I'm going to say that blaming is going to happen. And sometimes they're going to look at it like it's you. And it might be. So then that's when you take the time to allow someone the room to grow. Because when it's at least 2 people in a relationship, it takes 2 people to work with the relationship. But if one is working with the relationship, it just might be a little bit more difficult for them to handle. So then we need for them to lighten up. That's all. Okay. Number 5, forgiveness. Now that we know that all of these things can be going on and people get mad, they want to break your stuff, they want to ignore you, they want to do this, they don't want to honor what you say, they're mad. Okay, so now someone has to be the big guy or the big girl and say, hey, I forgive you. I know that you were upset. Okay, so forgiveness is a very big tool in a healthy relationship. And not just on one part. Half of the people want to forgive and half of the people don't. Or one of the people want to forgive and one of the people don't. So you just have to remember, when you forgive someone, that means that you're not going to note everything that they did, even though you can remember what it is, but it's kind of like you got to, act as if you forget what they did and move forward and start liking them again, showing them great communication and attitudes. Your attitudes with them have to continue to be good. You have to do that. Now, number 6 is showing care or concern. And I didn't want to stop and then talk about how you got to show care and concern. When you show care and concern, that means that if a person tells you, I don't like doing this, don't try to force them to do it. If you do, make sure you give them a good reason as to why you are making them do that. Okay? So, care and concern goes a long way down the road. Okay? If it even takes you and then makes you act in a whole new attitude and different way with them, don't first think that they're acting funny or being fake. Okay, what I mean by that is saying, hey, they're acting like this, but maybe it's not what they mean to be like with me. Don't be so quick to judge them and say, hey, they don't really want to be nice. Some people could be lightening up. And if your relationship has gone that sour to the point where you don't believe that this is what's going on, remember this. It's okay to move forward to your other relationships and leave one out. If it's meant to be, it will continue to be a relationship that you can continue down the road. Okay. So, showing care is still buying gifts for them, still treating them with kindness, still treating them with love, and, thinking about some of the things they want. And then if you're not acting, what you'll be doing is being sincere and real with them, because you want them to be able to recognize that you actually care for your relationship to continue to grow. Alright, number 7, trying to grow. See, in both parties or in the parts of the relationship, people need to at least try to grow. Because sometimes everyone thinks they're already perfect enough and they don't think they need to do anything else. But don't point the finger and try to say, hey, this is you. Pointing is not helpful in a lot of relationships. Now, don't get mad if it works in one relationship and not the other. Okay? Special attention goes to different people. Why? Because of the work that they put in. Okay? Now, if you're in a relationship with someone and they feel like you haven't done a lot of work, guess what? They may be angry with you. And of course I wanted to say this at the beginning of the tape, but I'm here saying it now. If you're having a problem with someone that's angry, that's not a good way of saying that the relationship is healthy, because anger is an expression that's going to happen, but people just don't want it to be at them. So, When you think about why someone's saying, hey, I did a lot of work, or I've been here doing this more than you, so you don't deserve any credit. Think about when you care about someone, you're not going to recognize that with it. You're not going to understand that feeling. Okay? So you still have to continue to try to grow until you get rid of some of these nasty attitudes and feelings. Alright. Number 8, being honest when admitting issues. You can also go to someone in a relationship and admit issues that you may have. Being honest about these issues that you have within yourself, it is good. It's good to look at yourself too. You need to start looking at yourself, and sometimes that may hurt. Sometimes that can hurt people. But in the case that it does, try to talk to someone about it that you really like. And if you talk to someone that you really like about it, and they can give you some great advice, then you're in a good turn. But what happens when you get the advice from someone that you really didn't want to get it from, and you like that advice? You're still going to have to learn how to lighten up about it and receive it and accept it and then move forward, because like I said, mental things start up here. Okay? So if you can think about how you can point the finger at yourself, then point it at someone else, then you can say, hey, this is what's going on with you. This is what's going on with me. It makes the relationship a little bit better because they say, hey, you're not only looking at me, you're looking at yourself. Okay, how do you bring that to someone who doesn't know how to accept it from you, or just don't know how to accept it at all? Because maybe they can accept it from you, or maybe they just can't. It's always ways to learn how to still allow that person to grow. Allow them that room. Okay? Because if you come to them in a negative manner, it might not help, because they can be already dealing with a lot of other issues, as most people are. And then you need to think about what level it is for them. Okay? So, they need to think about that too. Alright. Number 9 is delivering. Now that you realize that you need good communication, allowing people room to grow, lightening up, letting or allowing someone to heal, forgiveness, showing care and concern, trying to grow, being honest when admitting issues, you need to now deliver these things that you're learning. And take it with your relationships. And in most relationships, it just might work. But if it doesn't, you may have to go through bigger steps. If it's just that important to you. Because when someone is hurting, it's not going to be as important to them as you think it is. Because they will move on with the blink of an eye. Because they have been feeling pain and maybe nobody's recognizing it. And so they'll move to the next person that maybe let them know, hey, I care. And when they do that, you leave all other negative relationships alone. And that's probably not what they want. But it's possible that that's what may have to happen. In those cases, you need to grieve and say, hey, I'm losing a relationship that I think that should be important. It could be a friend, it could be a husband, or it could be, I don't know. But it could be somebody that's very important to you. But if you can avoid missing out on a relationship, do it. But you want to be healthy. Unhealthy relationships can cause you to be unhealthy. And everybody needs to be healthy to survive here on the earth and do things that they like to do. So let's just remember, sometimes cutting a relationship down for a little bit doesn't mean forever. But you gotta get yourself together. You gotta do what it takes for what you need. Because what you need, someone else might not be able to offer it to you. What you need, you may have to take the time to do it. And you need to figure out what those things are. And that's important for your relationships to continue to be healthy. We know that people have been hurting. We know that people have lost things. We know that people have, made some mistakes. So I want to get to number 10. Number 10 is avoiding the feeling of being guilty. When you know you have messed up in relationships and you know that you have cut relationships that you can't probably get back, or it's going to be hard to get those relationships back, you need to stop feeling guilty because you know that you've taken that time to change, you've taken that time to grow, and now you don't want to be guilty. No one wants to feel guilty, and everyone has done something imperfectly or wrong. So just remember, feeling guilty is not a good feeling. So what do people do to avoid feeling guilty? Start doing things that are the opposite of the things that you did to hurt people, or the opposite of things that whatever it is that's causing you to be guilty. Start doing the opposite of that and keep practicing that and put it into practice. And start feeling better about yourself. Tell yourself some good things about yourself. Listen to other people when they compliment you or try to make you feel good. Now, I'll try to give you a couple of tips about proper ways to deal with being angry or frustrated. Try going to a room to yourself. This always is good. Or going to a space to yourself so that you won't bring your anger or frustrations on other people that maybe don't even know how to deal with it, such as newborn babies and children and sensitive people. People are very sensitive at some things, and some things maybe not. Everybody, like I said, is different and may deal with things differently. So if you can get to a room by yourself, go on a nice vacation, relieve, try to do something that you know that can make you happy. Now I'll tell you one thing that makes people happy. Having enough money to spend it on it and go shopping, that makes people happy. So what do you have to do to get there? Alright, now, last and not least, if you're having a problem finding a friend, you can check some steps. And hopefully I can come back and bring you these new steps that you may need in finding a friend. Because it's not always easy finding a friend where you haven't even found yourself yet. Or you know the things that you like to do. Okay, so finding a friend is important to a lot of people. Yes, we got family. Yes, we got all of that. Maybe we have kids. But are you too old to have friends? Maybe not. Because it's a good thing when you can have a friend or someone to talk to, and mainly someone to trust. Thank you for tuning in with Zoro's News, Channel 21, and I hope you have a good day.